Inside Foos presents FoosTalk Live.
Foos Chess says, let's eat grandma versus let's eat grandma. Grammar saves lives.
Commas are important.
They are important. I'm really digging the music here this weekend.
It's good.
It's like right in my wheelhouse.
Yesterday was Tool most of the day, which I love.
Okay, yeah.
And today is 80s
one hit.
strip club music.
Yeah.
It's FoosTalk Live.
You talking to me?
Compelling and lively banter.
Are you going to talk to us?
Talking foosball.
Foosball was how I measured my value as a man. You took that away.
Players and fans, promoters and pros. Unedited and raw.
Talk.
Living in the moment.
We have a lot of important things to talk about.
All while practicing social distancing.
Cool. We'll talk. No big whoop.
Let's get this thing started. FoosTalk Live. Coming to you live from the studios of Inside Foos, it's the 107th episode of FoosTalk Live, brought to you by InsideFoos.com, offering you monthly subscriptions with access to some of the most exciting matches ever recorded, plus live tournaments, pre- and post-show analysis, interviews, and original programming. Get your subscription now at InsideFoos.com. Also brought to you by ProtectoFlex, the world's premier foosball safety accessory. Go to Protecto-Flex.com. Brought to you by Rodlock. Practice more, reach less. The best practice tool in foosball. Visit rod-lock.com. Brought to you by 518 Prints, one of the best printers of promotional items and foosball apparel. Visit 518prints.com. Also brought to you by Foosballers the Movie. This Joe Hessling foosball documentary, now available as a worldwide download at foosballersthemovie.com. And brought to you by the USTSO, helping to usher in a brand new era of competitive foosball. Become a member at usafoosball.com. And brought to you by Foosball Clubs USA, promoting foosball through school systems all over the United States. Visit foosballclubsusa.com and make a donation today. Well, hey there, it's Tom Robinson. Once again, we're back together again to talk about foosball with FoosTalk Live. This is episode 107. And of course, when you're going to talk about foosball, it always pays to have another person to talk to about it, especially the number one best of all time play-by-play foosball announcer. He hails from Durango, Colorado. His name is Jim Stevens. Hello, Jim.
Hi, Tom. Hi, everybody. It's good to be back on the air. And next week's top five fooscasters not named Jim Stevens. That's going to be a fun one. But thank you for the great introduction. And I'm hurrying here because I've just been told not 4 minutes ago, folks, that I would be soloing the top five tonight. And so, and it's the top five memories from the Texas State Championships, which are coming up here in about a month at DFW Airport, Dallas-Fort Worth. And there's so many memories that I'm having trouble, Tom, narrowing it down to just five.
I got to say, it's hard to believe it's been a year already, because it just seemed like, I don't know, just a month or two ago that we're all there in Texas States and having a great time.
Yeah, for sure. And that was we were still all just kind of coming out of COVID. I remember going into that room and there were 400 plus players there, and there were about 3 of them wearing masks. And at that time, we had all still been, for the most part, wearing masks, on a regular basis, whether it's going to the market or whatever. And to go into that room and not have it, it really made it feel kind of normal. Yeah. It was an amazing tournament. Steve Murray and David Radack, who will be with us tonight, running another great event. And I remember just how special it felt to be there last year with the community, getting back to normal, so to speak.
As I think I mentioned many times on air, the room was electric the entire weekend. It was just a charge.
And for you were there, which was pretty cool, right?
It was so much fun. So much fun. And to just to see how the best possible foosball tournament can be run, how it's done, and without a hitch. I mean, it really, really was a beautiful, beautiful time. So at any rate, we'll have to save our compliments for our guests in just a few moments. But of course, there's other foosball action happening throughout the planet. In fact, in Florida, Clearwater, Florida, there's been a pretty good-sized tournament happening this weekend. And Inside Foos and Adam Gilson have been there, along with Clay Toomey. So, Adam, are you with us? Hello, Adam.
Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I said something clever, so let's just go pretend I did.
Yeah, we caught a little bit of your banter from last night. We clipped a little bit for the front of the show. Is that now you're talking about?
I heard that.
Eating grandmother and eating grandma.
Yeah, that was the one you chose.
Well, yeah. I mean, it kind
Okay.
of summed you guys up in a way.
I don't know. That was my one of my takeaways this weekend is that Twitch breeds interesting conversations.
Yeah, I guess
That
so.
was one of them.
Yeah. So you are this weekend not only on Inside Foos as a streaming service for the matches, but also on Twitch TV.
Yeah. We've been on Twitch. We've been interacting with everybody as much as we can during the short times that we were on there. Kind of looking forward to other things. I'm not entirely privy to all that, but I just know that it's been all I know, and I know Jim can I think attest to this, is that it's fun chatting with the folks,
Yeah,
all the players out there.
right.
It is, and that's something I've kind of always hoped that FoosTalk Live would kind of turn into is that interaction. I think we will. I think it's headed in that direction. But to be able to interact with the players, field questions, comments, etc., it's really. I know Adam and I have done it a few times. Did it in Vegas a little bit. It's a lot of fun. It
Yeah.
really is a lot of fun to touch base with the people out there, and looking forward to doing that a little bit at the Texas State Championships coming up at the end of this month. Yes, today is May 1st.
Yeah, and
Oh my
So,
gosh.
yeah,
mhm.
right. That's
Wow.
happening soon. Also to mention, Twitch TV will also be the home of Foos Talk Live very soon. We now have 50 followers officially.
Awesome.
Thank you for that, Adam. We appreciate your help on that. But Twitch TV will be our home as of next week, according to our plans here. Clay Toomey is going to handle the technical end of that, and so we'll be joining you not only here as a radio show, but a bit of you can kind of peek in as to see what we're up to while we do this, live on Foos Talk Live. So looking forward to that too.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
gonna be good. I mean, maybe we have to talk about that because I'm pretty sure next Sunday's Mother's Day, but
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, but we'll see.
But mom plays foosball, so
That's
what's wrong
true,
with that?
actually.
Okay, so
He does.
so you and
Yeah.
your mom could be go with the top 5 FoosTalk hosts who aren't here this week.
Bring your mom along, Adam. I think she'll love it.
Yeah.
But now looking forward to going live at Twitch, and again that interaction, of course, being on camera, people can kind of see, I mean, obviously it's going to be a video version of the radio show, basically is what we're looking at, but also to be able to bring our guests on video, etc., and interact with the folks. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, no question. It's a new era. It kind of we have to broaden our horizons here. So so be it. Why not? I don't have to necessarily wear a tie, but I'll try to dress up.
No,
Mhm.
but you could.
Like I
You
said,
do look
I've
good
seen
on
you
a
dressed
tie,
up.
Tom.
You look good.
You do.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
He's a professional, Adam. He is a professional, and he dresses professionally.
He's a
He's-
pro's
he-
pro.
Yeah,
We're
he's
not
wearing a
sure-
suit right now. I guarantee you. He's the kind of radio host that wears a suit to the studio every single time.
It's the same suit I wear to bed every night. So why not?
All right.
Awesome.
It's business.
So, yeah. So hey, Adam, what's going on down there in Florida? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, I think there's two big takeaways, and let's just get the results that we have out of the way. I mean, you've got Tony winning open singles, of course. You've got open doubles was won by a very well played match. Don Bachkowski Jr. with Billy Pappas. Great to see Billy Pappas out. They played a hotly contested match, but won the first set against Blake Robertson and King Gabriel
Mm-hmm.
to win open doubles here. You've got amateur singles was won by Noelia Arcos, the Lightning Rod, doing a great job. She also ended up winning women's open singles. Women's open doubles went to, I believe, Maggie Strong and Daphne Wells. Again, a great match. The match of the weekend for me was a heart melter. It was the junior singles match, and it was what we got here. It was Sherwin Pulowski beat Emma Owens.
Go Sherwin.
Out of but Emma was hammering pole kicks, open-handed pole kicks, and showing so much poise. Those kids, they can't be plus or minus 2 years of 10, right?
Yeah.
And they were just the amount of poise that they showed is more than I think 99% of most football players.
Yeah, no, it's Sherwin actually is, of course, his dad, Stan, and of course, Stan was playing this weekend in Florida too. But Sherwin and his brother Luis, those two, when they first started playing, they were probably 7 or 8, and they were coming to our Smashdowns in Albany, and also some of our DYPs. They have come so far in such a short period of time and have become monsters, the both of them. Tore it up for rookies and I guess amateurs as well, right?
Yeah, no, they did. And I think the probably the one person who was happier about their win than everybody in the room combined, Mike Green, won senior doubles with Jason Lurie.
Nice.
Mike Green, of course, a great fan of FoosTalk Live. Happy for him. He was so excited that he celebrated long through the night. Maybe too long. But
long through the
but
night.
yeah, but that wasn't the big takeaway. I don't think. I think this is what people are going to be talking about after this tournament is really the ascendance. We've been talking about it, but this has been modern foosball has just shined this weekend. That's the systems they've been using.
Oh, the software
to run the tournament. Yeah, the software has been amazing. David has been here, and Aaron Croft of Foos Gadgets has been here throughout the weekend as well, premiering their automatic scorekeeping system that they have. They have 5 tables situated with it, and they've got infrared scanner inside each side of the ball return, and automatically. So, and that's not anything new per se, but then it goes to the modern software foosball, and the information gets sent to the desk. Now, this was the first time they've done it live, so they're still working out a couple things here and there, but the system is looking really good. And the functionality of this is, imagine how much time you can shave off of a tournament if you just get 1 or 2 more matches a day on a table. You know, it's just, and this is going to lead to it because you know how much time people spend. I mean, I'm guilty of it as much as anybody else. I try not to be. But then you look at the functionality as the Swiss system becomes more popular. Instead of having to do strength of schedule, you can start actually having the matches. You already know the scores.
Right.
The functionality is by far and away something that I can't. You know, I don't know where it can go, but it can go a lot of different places. So the finals, some of the people you would expect to see in the finals winning this weekend, kind of the usual suspects. The great stories that you've been seeing. Pro Singles was won by Jacob Alco. So, you know, that's the other takeaway.
Jacob,
kids. Kids are really coming up here.
Yeah,
they're really coming up.
Jacob is again another monster. Just amazing. I was hoping that Sammy Dijon would be up in that list.
I believe he got 4th.
Yes, right.
In Pro Singles, but. And the other thing that's happening this right now is that the handicapped, normally kind of a fun event that just kind of happens between maybe 10 teams. The handicap doubles that they had, because so many events were finished, there was 42 teams in handicap doubles.
Really?
Which is ridiculous this started, I think, 7 o'clock local time, 6 o'clock local time. So yeah, things ran smooth. People are having fun here, and it's a Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
So what more could you ask for?
Well, that says it all right there, for sure.
That says it all right there.
Thank you, Adam. Yeah, you really illuminated what's going on this weekend. And as we continue here in 2022 and move forward on what we anticipate is going to be a great year of foosball once again.
Yeah. And I'm really curious about the Foos Gadgets device. I think this is really kind of a neat wrinkle that I didn't expect to hear about. But yeah, looking forward to working with that device sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seems inevitable, you know, that that foosball would embrace this kind of a thing, electronic scoring, which has been tried several times in the past and not real successfully. But I anticipate now with the technology we have available that this is a reality. And of course, you're still going to get the old school folks who want to do it by hand, kind of want foosball to sort of be the anti-technology game, the anti-video game sort of thing. But still, there is certainly a place for it. And I think it's inevitable, and it's great to see what those guys at Foos Gadgets are continuing to do.
No, I'm not sure.
And kind of the Elon Musk of foosball, right? Pushing things forward. Yeah.
And Jim, that's a really great point you said bringing up, because I think the software is not in doubt and the technology is not in doubt. It's going to be, can the foosters adjust and can they see what it is you need to do? Because you do need to be a little more interactive with the way they have it set up, but it's really not that much, and the benefits all.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just wondering if sometime maybe the sound effects will come into play and they'll have cheering crowds whenever you score the ball, you know, that kind of thing. But I digress.
I think they do. I think they do have that. I believe that is part of it. To get that canned, it's kind of like the canned laughter when you're watching a sitcom, right? Sort of that kind of thing. And maybe they can get that as well. You know, which would be kind of cool. So anyway,
you just never know.
We digress. See, Tom, I'm getting thirsty.
Oh, me too.
What Jim and I like to do right about this time is to reveal our favorite IPA.
Raytel, what are we quaffing this evening?
Yeah, Adam loves the Fremont Brewery. The double IPA they do up there is outstanding. It's one of the best beers. Might be his favorite beer, and it's certainly a top 10 for me as well. And last week I tried another one of their IPAs. And this week I'm going right back to Fremont. They're located, of course, up in Seattle. They do nice work. This one is a hazy India Pale Ale, as I love the hazies. This one is called Head Full of Dynamite. version 37.
Whoa. Head full
Yeah,
of dynamite.
head full of dynamite, and I think a lot of people here in Durango, with all the pollen that's floating around, probably have a little bit of a head full of dynamite with the allergies. But I am enjoying a tall can, kind of it's sort of a hallucinogenic label on it, multicolored.
Love it.
A tall can, 16.9 ounce can from the Fremont Brewery. It's the Head Full of Dynamite, 6.6% alcohol, and let's have a sip. Solid. Yeah, I mean, that's one thing, Adam. You and I someday are going up to that brewery in Seattle, and we're going to sit down.
Yes.
And we're going to sample all the IPAs they have, and they have a bunch.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
So, Adam, I know you're in Florida. Have you had an opportunity to sample an IPA or 2 or 3 or 4?
Let me just backtrack and say that I am at a Holiday Inn.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I have not. I actually popped down at the bar to see what they had on tap, and no.
Okay.
I'm gonna take the 5th on this one.
You got to take the 5th. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
So you're drinking a fifth of what?
yeah.
Whatever I can take.
Yeah. Well,
Tom.
I'll do what I can here. We're talking about Sloop Brewing. In fact, we're going to do a little bit of a commercial here for them. Sloop Brewing presents Juicier Bomb. It's a double IPA, 8% alcohol, and this one, wow, this has got a really fancy looking can. By the way, the Sloop Bomb series is hazy, it's juicy, it's real hop flavor, but it's brewed and canned by the Sloop Brewing Company in Hopewell Junction, New York. Not even 100% sure where that is, but I have a feeling about this one.
Hang on, Sloopy.
All right, here we go. Oh, I can smell it already. Okay, yeah, it's juicier. There's no doubt about that. I love their label. It's a sailboat in the sunset. Very cool. Very nice. Okay, there you go. Juicier Bomb Double New England IPA. Cheers. Okay. Well, we have a toast. We're going to propose a toast, and of course, this one is our honor group of the week. We're proposing a toast to the broadcast crew for Inside Foos. Here's to you guys, Clay, and Adam, and Keith. Keith, go ahead. Cheers.
Keith had to leave.
He had to leave.
Yeah. How soon
Get a
they
wedding.
forget?
Oh man. Well, at any rate, watching you guys last night while playing foosball was a great pleasure. And here's to you guys. So cheers to the honor group of the week, the Inside Foos broadcast team.
Great job, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
Oh, yeah. Well, just wait for it. There it comes. There we go.
Wow.
Just for you. And I think that, of course, the next time we all get together, well, we'll just have to do this live. On stage.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be fun to get up on stage and do this?
Oh, that would be
IPA
cool,
of the
wouldn't
week.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, do it up live, do a live version in front of a live audience
Yeah, this is
with a
gonna-
canned laugh track. That would be
Right?
great.
Yeah.
Just
yeah,
like
I
a
like that.
sitcom. Yeah.
No, I think it's a doable thing. So we'll
Let's do it.
we'll wait and see what happens. So yeah, so lots of things happening when it comes to foosball tournaments. We're going to be talking to Steve and David from Texas State in just a few seconds here. But I thought perhaps we need to reminisce about the good old days. With great moments in foosball history, this is a FoosTalk Live.
As Tommy puts it back into play, still championship point for Yore. Trying to go with a quick left hook, almost paid for it. But left hook with the 2-rod. Angles that one up the table. It's picked off here by Spredeman. See if Tony can tighten the screws a little bit here on the passing series, where he's dropped a couple in a row. Not dropping this one. Another chance to even it up at 4 for Tony Spredeman. There's Yore again.
I would love to see the shooting percentages on this one. This is unreal.
And Tommy Yore now with a chance to win it. Does not have a timeout remaining as he sets it up and strokes it home.
What an incredible match.
Tommy Yore in 2 sets comes back to defeat Tony Spredeman and win the 2021 Texas State Open singles title. And look at him. That might be the biggest win of his career, folks.
I think he knows the gravity of what he just accomplished.
Listen in next time for another great moment in foosball history. It's Foos Talk Live. Yes, good old days back in 21 back there. It was a great time. I still remember.
Seems like only yesterday. It was Tommy Yore, all right? This is a guy, obviously, he's been coming a couple of years ago at Texas State, a couple of big wins, including one over Tony. But last year, absolutely the biggest win of his career. Came back to beat Tony, was very emotional afterwards. The big takeaway for me from that match was the defense that Tommy played. Both players. It was, again, you heard Keith Glenn, who worked that match with me, talk about the shooting percentages. He was not talking about high shooting percentages. He was talking about low shooting percentages because of the defense played on both sides of the table. It was a battle. It was a great match. It meant so much to Tommy. And what a great match it was, and really the birth of a champion. A guy who had already, of course, won an open doubles world championship, but this was the biggest win of his singles career for sure. Doubt. So, a lot of fun to watch that. A lot of fun to really see those two guys battling head to head in that singles final.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better than that. I remember, Tommy's expression after he realized what he had just done, and the way he just walked around the room, and he was trying to soak it all in and trying to recover a little bit, but he just looked overjoyed and beside himself. It's interesting because Tommy Jr. Last night joined Adam in the booth for Inside Foos commentary.
Good. Yeah.
And so, Adam, what pray tell did Tommy say? I think he mentioned that he's going to school as a reason for not playing this weekend.
He has. That's his thing, and I can only respect that.
Yeah.
Putting that kind of thing first and setting it up, going forward. But he didn't rule out coming back to it, of course.
Okay.
But it was. I'm assuming, Jim, he'd been in the booth with you at some point, because he was like butter. He did great in there.
We've done interviews with him, and he's sharp. He has a good feel for it, understands his position there, and I think he enjoys it. Yeah.
Yeah. But he just as an aside, besides just his foosball knowledge, he is such a genuinely nice kid, a genuinely nice young man. And it was just nice to be. I've never talked to him before. That was the first time I had a chance.
Really? I thought you guys
and he
knew
caught
each
me.
other.
I was calling it. I was packing it in. It was late, and then he just stops by, and I was like, okay, well, let's do this. It's Tommy Yore.
Right.
And no, it was fun. It was fun. His insights that he has and how he can pick up. You don't double dip Tony Spredeman at a major in singles and not know what you're talking about, right? And to play on that level, it's always fun, Jim. Whenever we get people like him or Tony or Blake in there and hear what they talk about at that level, it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, it is. They see the game in a different way, don't they? And it's fascinating. It really is fascinating to hear it from the mouths of these great champions.
And I know last night you were joined in the booth by Clay Toomey, and you guys got into your unusual banter, which I think was very highly entertaining. Clay has just recharged his phone.
Keep the cards and letters coming.
Clay has just recharged his phone and joined us on FoosTalk Live. Hello, Clay. Clay, can you hear us?
Charged his phone, but perhaps not his voice. But Clay is down there as well, and it'll be interesting to hear his take on this event.
I don't know if y'all can hear me or not. Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you are. Yeah, hi, Clay.
All right. I wasn't prepared to talk. I was prepared to listen. I didn't know it was just like rolling in on the conversation.
Well, you're always welcome here, man. You built this place, so it's kind of like your place. So.
I ran and got lunch while y'all built it.
So Clay, you and Adam, of course, spent some time in the booth last evening, especially. How was the experience?
Yeah, it was great for Adam, because anytime you're sitting next to me, it's always going to be fun.
Security.
Wait, is Adam here? Adam can hear it?
Yeah, I can hear you, dude.
All right. Sorry, it was great. It was awesome. I'm just kidding. Dude, I love being in the booth. Anytime I get a chance to just like talk and hang out with friends, I think that's a win. And you throw foosball in there, which is what I was doing. I was just sitting next to my buddy Adam and chit-chatting and having fun and talking. And then you add to that, like my favorite game, foosball. How could that not be fun?
Right. Yeah, I loved how you guys
How was that for a turnaround?
Yeah, you were discussing the percentages. They were getting into your numbers last night. To me, that's gold right there when you guys get into percentages and why someone who might even pass 100% is still not winning.
Yeah. There's some numbers in the game that definitely matter more than others, and there's no one thing that will dictate whether or not you win or lose, except points, obviously. But I love having that conversation around stats and how it relates to the game and where it shows up in the wins and where it shows up in the losses.
Right. Love it. Love it. Love it. Yeah, no, it's we're looking forward now. You of course Texas is your home turf. So you apparently are going to be at Texas State's, I assume.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, Tom. Texas is my home, and I will not be in Texas when Texas State happens. I won't even be in the country. I'm going to be in Sweden. I've got some I wouldn't call it work, even though technically it is, because I go talk and I get paid and stuff like that. But I'm going to be in Sweden at a conference related to the prison work that I do, and it's unfortunate that it fell on Memorial Day weekend. But I will. This is the first time that I will miss Texas State, except for COVID, since I started playing. So first time in 8 years that I won't be there.
Jeez.
And I'm sad about it, but I'm also happy that I love the work that I do, in the prison world. And so I'm not sad that I'm going. I am sad that they happened on the same weekend and I had to pick.
Right. Understood.
So, Texas State doesn't pay me nearly as much as this other stuff. So I had to just make a choice and go,
Well,
but I'm sad, but I won't be there. But everybody else will still be there, and it'll still be the best tournament of the year.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned.
No question. Awesome. Very cool. Well, so what's left, you guys? Adam, Clay, what's left in Florida?
I got to find a good IPA, and beyond that, start packing stuff up. I think there's open mix in the handicapped, and I think that's pretty much it. Smooth, would you say, Clay?
Yeah, there is open mix in the handicap doubles, which is technically you're going to go to a different point based on your rank. But best I can tell, handicap doubles is basically all the best players getting smashed and playing foosball,
which is a lot of fun.
It's just getting hammered, and it's a different kind of handicap.
Yeah, and the handicap player, whatever the highest ranked player is, that's your handicap playing too. So any team that's got a master on it's going to play to 8. So one of the teams that I noticed as I was walking around is Spredeman and Munoz, which, why not? If you're going to have one master, have the other one.
Right.
Sure, yeah. And that's a dangerous team under any circumstances, handicap or not.
So they, as a team, would have to take the opposing team would get a whole lot more points to start with, correct?
Depends on the other team's rank. If they're playing a team of rookies, then the rookies go to 4 and or 5. They go to less than 8 for sure, and I think they go to 5. I have help here actually. Somebody's telling me that I'm wrong when I say 4, but they go to 5, and then the masters go to 8. Yeah,
got it.
And then the amateurs go to 6, the experts go to 7, the pros and the masters go to 8. And these are all questions. And he's nodding his head. So, yes, that's accurate. All right, cool.
Got it.
And other than that, we're just hanging out. It's a good vibe here. Florida's awesome, man. I got my recording gear. We've recorded some Shooting the Shot episodes for season 2.
Right. So,
and,
tell,
those are fun.
Give us a little preview. Who did you talk to this weekend?
This weekend, well, first of all, there's a couple from Oklahoma State last weekend. Talked with Blake Robertson and Delisa Bamba separately. Obviously, that'll be 2 different episodes.
Okay.
Season 1 will be Blake Robertson on Tuesday, and 2 days from now. So,
nice.
And then, and as far as what we've done here in Florida, I've talked to Midori Kimura.
Yeah.
Also sat down with Ray Schneider.
Ooh.
Talked to Noah Rosenstein, which a lot of these you'll if you don't already know who they are, they were in last season as well. Also talked to a couple new folks. Talked to David, whose name I will not try to pronounce, but he is the brains behind this new thing that everybody loves called modern foosball.
Yes.
And so we talked for about an hour about everything from foosball to his journey to America, working for Microsoft, and it was interesting. And also we talked to a couple other people. There's still a few that I have yet to get, But we're set up right outside the tournament room. We're going to talk to Lindsay Albert probably at some point. Mark Krause is supposed to come over and hang out, chat for a little bit.
Yeah.
And whoever else that, just happens to walk by and who seems interesting. So
shooting
there's
the shot.
a lot of folks here.
Yeah, shooting the shot is back. It's coming back very soon, and stay tuned to this the same bat channel, same bat time, and
it'll be right here.
Yeah, right here.
No.
Adam is supposed to come out here too. Adam is supposed. I don't know what he's doing in there in the tournament room. There's like mostly construction crews. Okay, well that destroys my joke. So I'll just put that one back in my hip pocket.
I'm just up here I'm so sorry. I totally interrupted you. But anyways, no, you're talking to my buddies.
Yeah, whenever he's free, I'm down to talk to Adam again too.
Nice.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, it's so nice.
And hopefully Mike Gentian. I don't know if Mike Gentian is going to get over here and talk to me, but I keep, he's foosball Jesus over here. Trying to get him to talk to me, and he's about 5 feet away from me, which means I'm so far not going to get hit, but he's inching closer to me, so maybe I will get hit.
Put a glass of whiskey out there.
Yeah, sounds fascinating, guys. Really does. But let's move on, guys. Let's start focusing on Texas State coming up here. Sounds like you're having a great time down there, and I know everybody's going to have a great time here in a few weeks as well, up in or down in Texas, at least here from Colorado. But Tom, we got a little more work to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say it's about time we start talking about the future here. Of course, Memorial Day weekend, it's going to be huge with Texas State, which is really one of the majors. And of course, one of the reasons it's so successful and done so well. Well, there's actually two reasons who are with us this evening. First of all, Old Dad, or Steve Murray.
Yeah,
and
will join us after the top 50, I think, right?
And
our top
Radack,
5 coming up here.
Our top 5, yeah. So we're going to take a few seconds to take care of the top 5. And so, Jim, what is your top 5 this evening?
Well, yeah, and again, This got sprung right before the show when Mark unable to make it at a concert for his daughters who are performing in, and of course, Adam has never been to Texas State. So it's basically the top 5 takeaways, top 5 memories of Texas State's. And I went to my first one in the early 1990s in the infancy of InsideFoos, and of course the most recent one last year. So I've got a few memories, and I'm happy to share them.
All right, let's do it. Time once again for the FoosTalk Live Top 5.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number 5.
Yeah, it feels weird going first and last. And but number five for me. I'm going to go back, now almost 20 years. Texas State always has drawn great competition, all the best players in the world, et cetera. But back in 2002 and 2003, Brandon Moreland, a young player, had yet to really do anything on tour, a couple of non-pro titles. And Michael Archer, very good player, good 5, very smart player. But two guys you thought, oh, that's a team. Brandon Moreland and Mike Archer, they could finish in the top 5 for sure. But they went back to back. They won in 2002. And again, this is a tournament that included names like Terry Moore and Todd Lafredo and Tony Spredeman and Tracy McMillan and all these outstanding major championship winners. But it was, Mike Archer and Brandon Moreland who came out on top in 2002. And then the year later, when we said, oh, they can't do it again, that was a fluke. They win back-to-back championships, 02 and 03. Brandon Moreland and Mike Archer kind of shocking the world and winning back-to-back open doubles championships in very tough fields at the Texas State Championships. So, and again, of course, Brandon Moreland has gone on to have he was in our top 50 all-time players. I think he was number 39, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
World champion, multi-table world champion on Tornado, won Colorado State. Played great in Las Vegas just last month. Or
right.
Month before. No, it was last month. Yeah.
No, he's
and so he's gone on to have a great career. Michael Archer kind of, had a nice little career, good solid player. But I think if Mike was on the show, he'd let us know that was probably the 2 best wins of his career. So 2002, 2003, Brandon Moreland, Michael Archer go back to back in open doubles at Texas State.
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number 4.
and I don't get the chance to take a breath or sip a beer. As we move right on to number 4. And number 4 for me, I'm going to go back. It was the early 2010s, early to middle 2010s. In fact, I can tell you exactly when it was. It was the year my son was born, and this is part of this memory. It was 2014. And, I went down to Texas State. I think I've told this story before. Went down to Texas State. My wife, Amy, is 8.5 months pregnant. And I get a phone call late Friday night. She says, I think I'm having a baby. I think it's time. So I get up early Saturday morning. I head out on American Airlines. I had driven down there, by the way. I had driven down to Texas to work the event.
Left your vehicle behind.
And I flew back. Yeah, left my vehicle there, hopped on a plane, flew back home, hustled into the house. She said, "Oh, false alarm." And so I spent the rest of that day, I don't know, playing cards or doing something before I could go back. Went back on Sunday. And the one thing I remember from that event, this was the time Steve Murray and Johnny Horton played together. All right.
Ooh.
2 of the most notorious players, 2 of the greatest players of all time, 2 top 20 players based on our list, of course. And they played together. And when they weren't battling the opponents, they were battling each other. They were, especially Johnny talking to the crowd. Steve was trying to kind of keep a rein on Johnny as much as he could. Man, it was entertaining to watch these incredible players, what they could do on the table, but also the way they worked the officials, worked the crowd, worked the announcer even, and the opponents, of course. And it was just a great pleasure to watch these 2 world champions competing together. Now, that's not quite the end of the story. That night, I tore all the equipment down. It was Monday, as Texas State always goes, Friday through Monday. You have that extra day on Monday, on Memorial Day, to kind of to make sure that things get done on time, and they always do. It's one of the great things about this event is we always get a chance to go out to dinner at the end of the weekend, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
But as I'm driving home, I hop in the car. I know my wife is still close. False alarm the first time, but I get back in the car. I start driving, and just outside Amarillo, Texas, I get the phone call, and this time it's official. The water has broken. And I literally took the last 500 miles from Texas to Colorado in about 5 hours. Showed up a little bit late for the birth, only about an hour to 2 hours late. But it was certainly a memorable weekend for me. Obviously, the great performance of Steve and Johnny, and the birth of my son, Kian.
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number 3.
Number 3 for me, I'm going to go back to 2015. 2015 was a pretty awesome event for a couple of reasons. So the 2015 Texas State Championships, the open singles final, it was Ryan Moore versus Tony Spredeman. And they decided to play the singles final kind of in an up-tempo fashion, lots of funsy stuff. And when these guys get going, obviously, they're 2 of the greatest players to ever play the game. It was extraordinary to watch them late on a Sunday night, not super late. It was actually a Monday afternoon. Again, this is Texas State, but Monday afternoon, and they're just on the table doing whatever they can think of and being creative and doing all this amazing stuff. And it was really entertaining to watch. That was one of the matches. The other one, and we've talked about it on the show, was Terry and Keisha Rue in mixed doubles facing Ryan Moore and Jackie Hahn. I think for the match, Ryan Moore was something like 20 out of 23 shooting the ball from his 3-rod. And that meant that Terry Rue could not miss a shot. And we talked about it when we had Keisha on, when we had the Rues on. But Terry Rue could not miss a shot.
Wow.
I mean, he couldn't afford to, right? And so he didn't. Every time he got it, he scored it. Then Ryan would score. Then Terry would score. Both players shot better than 80% for the match.
Wow.
Extraordinary performance. Terry, when it was done, of course, he scored the final point going up against Ryan Moore, who played almost a perfect match. And then Terry literally fell on the floor afterwards and just in celebration of what was such an improbable victory. So 2015, great matches, another great Texas State championship, and a couple of great memories for me.
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number 2.
And again, we heard the flashback a little earlier, but last year's event, and I touched on it a little bit, when we played that flashback a few minutes ago. But walking in that room and looking around that ballroom with 400 plus players, every one of them with a smile on their face, a sense of release, a sense of celebration, a chance to get back together with your friends, people that maybe you hadn't seen since before COVID. And it was just such a feeling of just the energy in the room last year was amazing. And, I hosted the Texas Legends ceremony, and I might have gone on a little long about that. but we were all feeling it, and you were there, Tom.
Oh, yeah.
It was so special. And I know you hadn't been to a Texas State previously, but there was something about this after 2 years that made it just an amazing experience. Obviously, the ballroom looked great. Always a great setup. The tournament is run so well. Great hotel, really super nice hotel, as it is every year. But there was just something about it that made it such a feel-good event for the community, for the foosball public.
Kind of like a perfect storm in a way.
It kind of was, wasn't it? It all kind of came together, the combination of competition and family, and I think everybody also not taking things for granted so much anymore and appreciating what we have here in this community. And I think it really was exemplified by the 2021 event last year.
Well, I concur because, well, I witnessed the whole thing. It was amazing. FoosTalk Live proudly presents the top 5. Number 1.
That never ceases to just blow me away. I'm going to go back now. I'm going to go back almost 30 years now, and that's amazing. We talked a little bit with Steve in the pre-show about the first time Inside Foos came to a Texas State championship. Of course, Steve Murray, primarily responsible for Inside Foos even being a part of the pro tour. He saw what we were doing in Southern California, gave us a call and said, "Why don't you come out and try that on the pro tour?" And of course, the rest is, I don't know, foosball video history. But going way back in 93, 94, the Texas State Championships being held at a Clicks Billiards in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Just jam-packed with people. There's just so many people in this bar. I basically would had a camera or 2 cameras set up on a little round bar table, had a couple of bar stools for me, and maybe Evan Stachlik, I think, was there working with me. But it was amazing. I mean, it was so cool. It was so, and to this day, I still love tournaments held in billiard halls or in foosball halls, that sort of thing. It still reminds me of those days of big tournaments being held in those sort of establishments. But obviously getting a chance to see the Texas style of foosball, some great pole shooters, great players from both the Houston area, Dallas-Fort Worth area, and all across Texas. But it was such a memorable thing, and everything in those days, it was all so fresh. This was Inside Foos. This was me out on tour, a lifetime foosball fan, getting to get out there in the middle of it all. Steve Murray, of course, such a great host, and a chance to really bring Inside Foos to the state of Texas for the first time. We went to the World Championships as well, but this was getting in there with the Texas players. Right. Might have been a fight or 2 or 3 or 8 during the course of the weekend as well. It's just how it was back then. Very, very competitive, but so much fun to get in there, do our thing, to feel appreciated for what we were doing, watch some great foosball, and begin what has now become an almost 30-year relationship with Inside Foos in the Texas State Championship. So for me, there's nothing like the first one. And going back now, boy, almost 30 years. I think I was a teenager at the time. But it was sure a lot of fun and a very vivid memory. Wow. And that's my number 1.
That's not only nostalgic, but a very romantic notion for sure.
It really is. Yeah. I need some violins. Where are the violins?
Where's the music? Bring in the music. No, it's Texas State. It has this reputation. It's always had this reputation, and I have a feeling it will continue for some time to come. In fact, let's get a quick idea as to what we're about to witness here for 2022 in Texas State. Let's bring on our guests. Old Dad, Steve Murray. Steve, are you with us?
Hey, fellas.
There you are.
How's it going?
It's going.
Hi, Steve. Great to hear your voice, Steve. Of course, Steve has been a part of the Texas State Championship since day one. And I believe last year was the 30th anniversary, if I'm not mistaken. And take us back to the beginning, Steve. Take us back to those early days of the Texas State Championships, what you were thinking. Obviously, at that time, the sport was thriving in what we have called the second golden era. But take us back in time, if you would, to the early days of the Texas State Championships.
Oh, man. I tell you what, Jim, you pretty much just nailed it. You were talking about the first time we finally got you to come and be a part of this thing we've been doing for 30 some years. We literally started, I actually kind of inherited the tournament after Dave ran a couple. Dave Currington, that is, ran a couple of Texas States, and he got busy doing other stuff. And me and a group of players wanted to continue that tradition, so we started the Texas State, and we had a relationship because we were having weekly tournaments at the Clicks Billiards chains and the Speeds Billiards chains. And one day I just talked to one of the GMs and I said, "Hey, listen, we'd love to host the Texas State Championship here." And they were already pretty much behind foosball. They supported us quite a bit. And so we decided to do our first one, Jim, and I'm telling you, it was crazy. The first couple of years, we literally would have to go rent a rider's truck and go take 3 tables off 6 or 7 different Clicks locations, along with some chairs and some bar stools and stuff like that. And we would come in and set it up, and then we'd have to hang lights. And it was a monumental task, but at the time we didn't really care. We didn't care. We loved foosball, and we wanted to have a good tournament for the Texas players and started the Texas tradition, and that's how we started. And I remember the very first time we had you out there. You're right, that Speeds Billiards was absolutely jam packed. You couldn't walk in there, but that was one of my most fond memories at Texas State was having Inside Foos there. And I mean, we didn't even really have a booth for you, but we felt like we did. I mean, we felt like we took a step up when we had you in there. And 30 years later, I mean, now we're having tournaments in 5-star hotels, and you know, yeah, we've got some really, really good playing conditions, I would say, to say the least. But yeah, that's where we started. I mean, it was grassroots, man. I mean, from the start, it was grassroots. It was, hey, let's continue this tradition. And me and David and Mike Archer and a couple other guys, a couple of really dedicated local players, we all got together and we said, "Hey, what do you think? Let's do this." And we did, and it was a ton of work, but at the time, it didn't even faze us. I mean, we loved it, and I'm glad we did it because that's how we got here.
You know, it's amazing to see after all this time, you're still maintaining that level of enthusiasm. What is it that keeps you coming back every year?
Well, I guess because we're really proud of what we've built here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like we've built one of the premier state championship tournaments in the country, and it's been that way for a long, long time. And it you know, it keeps you jacked up. You want to make sure that. I mean, listen, this is really for the players. I remember back when I was a young kid as a player, there was nothing like walking into a premier tournament room and just seeing the tables and the ambiance and the atmosphere and the arena feel to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what I wanted to do for Texas, and so we started. I mean, we started grassroots. We had the tournament in bars for years. I think like our first 10 or 12 were in pool halls, like Jim talked about.
Sure.
You know, and listen, our reputation was good. We ran a quality tournament, and we took good care of the players, and our focus was taking care of the players, and that kind of built our reputation. And then we started out growing these venues, and I remember when Clicks Billiards in Arlington one year, they said, "Hey, if you'll have Texas State foosball here, we'll pull every single pool table out of here and let you guys do it."
Wow.
And they literally did that. 25 pool tables they pulled out of Arlington so we could put all foosball tables in there and have the Texas State tournament. So anyways, just that grassroots thing, it's, you know, to get where we are now from back then, it's pretty amazing. And that's what keeps me jacked up, because I just, you know what, all these local promoters, they continue to set the bar high.
Yep.
I think actually we kind of set the bar high.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't take credit for what they're doing now, but it's really cool to see the local promoters and the regional promoters set this bar higher and higher, because really ultimately that's what we want to see for all of our state events.
No question. No question.
Yeah, you talk about it being a state event, and certainly it started off that way. But it has evolved. It's no longer, well, it's still, of course, called the Texas State Championships, although kind of an alternative name, the Players Championship as well. But it's a major championship now, Steve. I mean, the level of competition, the number of players, the quality of the venue, the way you guys go about running this thing. This is one of the can't miss events on the tour every single year for all of those reasons and more. It is a major championship. And I don't know, I guess there isn't any official body naming them, but I think it's pretty obvious that this has become one of the biggest tournaments in the world of foosball. And so while it's still called a state championship, it really is a major championship, isn't it?
I agree. I agree with that, and I'm gonna tell you that was what we wanted to accomplish from day one. Uh, I I was, you guys give me a lot of credit for this, but I was smart enough to bring in some pretty smart people, aka David Radack and the rest of our staff. I mean, I knew what I was good at, but I knew what they were great at, and that's kind of what took us to the next level. David developed a format that would, we've experienced and we've learned over the years what's good and what's bad at our big tournaments, and so I was never really good at that, and in fact, it never really interested me. I was more of a player, and I knew that I was good at a few things, but I knew that there were some people that were great at a few things, and I brought these people in, and that's really what put us over the top as really a little bit more than a state championship. And I agree with you, man. I was so flattered and and honored when people used to call us the fourth or fifth major. I mean, you had your nationals, you had worlds, you had U.S. Open, you had the Masters, and then Texas State.
That's the
So
status. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
that was a goal of ours, and I think we accomplished that. If not, we're damn close. But yeah, I agree. I think it's turned into a little bit more than a state championship. It's let's just call it. Let's just go ahead and call it the fifth major if you want to.
Well, let's and on that note, because you've been talking about David, let's bring Dave on. Dave Radack, you're welcome to FoosTalk Live. I know you've been standing there in the green room. How are you?
Good. Thanks. Good to be here with you guys.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah, this is something now. You give us your perspective. How in the world did you end up hooked up with Steve Murray?
Well, we were local players and coming up, and Steve was the big dog on the block here, and he ran all the tournaments in the area. So when we were coming up as rookies, Steve was getting us into the bars when we were 18 and 19, and working with cliques to make sure that we can come in and play. Yeah.
Love it. Now, for you, we haven't had a chance to ask you the question. Of course, Steve he's been grilled many times, but we're wondering what was the very first time you saw a foosball table, and what was it?
Very first time I saw a foosball table, it was a Tornado foosball table. It was at a place I worked called Photon, which was a laser tag place back in the 80s.
Oh.
And we had two tables in there, and all the employees played a little bit, and then one day a tournament player came in, and it was kind of night and day. It was just a whole new world opened up, and a few of us there, Mike Archer, myself, and another player, Dave Pena, that doesn't really play anymore. We just got hooked. We started playing the local tournaments because of that, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Right. No, it's there's that point of addiction where you start to realize I gotta keep doing this. So when was the first?
So Tom, let me hop in there.
Yeah.
David and his group, Mike and Pena and all those guys, they were really educated, smart dudes, right? But they were really good at foosball too, and that's why I grabbed those fellas up, because I knew I was good at a couple things, but I wasn't great at a lot of things. And one of the best things I ever did was getting David to be involved in Texas State, because he's developed a program that is, in my opinion, second to none as far as for player experience. And so I just wanted to throw that in there before we pass that up.
Okay.
So,
no, I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's smart to surround yourself with smart people, isn't it? We're talking with Steve Murray and David Radack of the Texas State Championships, which will be held this May 27th through 30th. Talk a little bit about the hotel, about the venue, about the playing situation. David, of course, you're kind of in charge of a lot of the logistics of the event. So talk to us a little bit about what you're looking forward to this year, as far as the setup, et cetera.
Well, kind of taking a step back to why we do this a bit is we've given a venue where we can make some changes positively for the sport. We were, one of the things that I thought growing up was, the masters don't get kind of the rewards that they need. The only reward for becoming a master is paying higher entry fees. So one of the things that we did early on was do that risk-free for masters, where they don't have to pay entries if they don't cash. Just a little incentive, a little give back to them to get them to come out to the tournaments and to not have to stress about the extra entry fees and things like that. And we also added an event where they would get to play with unranked players that would basically it started off as an auction where we would auction off the masters, and then it turned into kind of a pick your partner format. But it was another event for the masters to cash in, another way to give back to them, but also a way to get the player experience up, because this gave an opportunity for some players to play with Tony and Ryan and all these guys in a high stakes format where there's a lot of money on the line, that they probably never would get that opportunity before. So that was some of the things that we've done, and then kind of the blocking system of how we do our entry fees to try to make sure that everybody has a good experience. So when you sign up for an event, you don't play one match and then sit there for 5-6 hours. We've kind of tried to design the schedule to minimize that, just because that's something we identified as a big pain point for our players.
Yeah, that seems to be a lot of talk now since earlier this year with the Thunderdome format in Florida, kind of a test, so to speak, with this Swiss format and playing continually, all the players playing continually for several hours at a time. What do first of all, Steve and David, what do you both think of that? Steve, why don't you go first with that one?
So I think that's important, and you know what? Because we think that's important, we stepped up, and we're going to talk. You know what? If you're going to walk the walk, you got to talk the talk.
Mm-hmm.
And we decided to have our main events go to the Swiss format for that very reason.
Wow.
We think that those are some very positive changes, and it obviously worked good at Thunderdome. Stay tuned, because there's going to be some better Thunderdomes coming down the road, baby. I guarantee you. But anyway, some very, very positive changes, and we've been lucky that Jason and Brittany have been running a kind of a similar format to that with the Super DYP. David knows the official term. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of like a Swiss thing. But the point is, it's going to be so much better if we can get in there and run a main event or the main events, and be able for players to be able to prepare for these events, be able to go to their room, be able to go have lunch, be able to go hang out with their wives and their kids or whatever the case may be, and try to time it out a little better. So the fact is, even though we do have the absolute best double elimination format in the game, we do, thanks to Mr. Radack there, we've decided to go with some of the Swiss stuff, and I think that that's going to continue to evolve. And obviously that's the international flavor of it, and that's where the game is headed. So we thought we would go ahead and lead the way with doing it with open doubles.
Cool.
And if it works well, guess what? I think people will follow.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, there's always been a hesitancy, despite the success of this system internationally, where whoever has played it has enjoyed it. But it's promoters have been concerned, about trying something new. Again, once you play it, I guarantee, folks, you come to this event, you play the Swiss system, you play the open doubles event, you're going to love it. I promise. So, the feedback after Thunderdome for people who had played it for the first time. Steve, when you first went overseas internationally, of course, it was an amazing experience all around, but part of that was because of the Swiss system, right?
No question.
Very much admire the fact that you guys are willing to get out there and kind of showcase this in sort of a hybrid kind of way, right? A transitional sort of way, kind of mixing it with double elimination events and giving the players a chance to try it out and test it. But as you say, you have a chance to go have a meal. You know when your next match is going to be. You know who you're going to play. You know what table you're going to play on. It's just such a clean format. And of course, it's great for television as well, to be able to cover things live and to be able to say tonight at 5:00 we've got a semifinal. At 5:45 we have a second semifinal. At 6:30 the final. We can tell viewers and players exactly when those things are going to play. So from me, it's someone who has been a proponent of this for so long, and we've had this conversation, all of us, many times. Thank you for doing it. Thank you for trying it.
Yeah.
And I, for one, am looking forward to being there and commentating it in this new era of foosball, kicked off by Texas State. Thanks, guys.
And David, give us your take on this. What I know that there's been a couple of comments from some of the masters about they're not willing necessarily. I know we had a guest on here recently who said that he was not all that enthusiastic about it. Why would that be? And what would you say to somebody like that?
Well, I can definitely see why people might be a little, change is scary, especially if you're a pro master, especially if you're someone that's been winning under the traditional formats. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Right.
From their perspective, but for the vast majority of the players, they want that experience where they're going to get to play multiple matches in the event, not be two and out and done.
Mm-hmm.
And then just from the single elimination perspective, that's still scary for some people. I mean, it's a tough. It's going to be tough to win that event. Well, we're ideally going to play that entire event out in one day, which you never see at a major.
Right.
And you're actually going to see who the best team that day is. And it's not who got enough rest the night before, who warmed up the best on the Monday morning. It's ideally we're going to run that thing out. Get the first couple of the eliminations done very early in the afternoon, and then schedule out the quarters and the semis and the finals that evening, and get it done.
I mean, I can sort of understand in a way, let's say, a doubles team that have been preparing together, practicing together. They're masters. They know that they can win. They know they have a good chance of placing in the top 3 or 4. And then all of a sudden that no longer is the case because they can't choose themselves and walk in the door and expect to play together. That you never know who you're going to end up playing with. I can see where that might be a bit of a downer.
Yeah. So to Jim's point, I've been fortunate enough to play in the last couple international events, and I'm telling you that format is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I had such a great experience with my partner, the old Kraus dude up there in Omaha. Oh, not Omaha, whatever. He's way somewhere up there in Nebraska. Anyway, it gave us an opportunity in between matches to go off somewhere and kind of figure our stuff out. And we fought a lot, we cried a lot, we laughed a lot. But I just think the format itself is so much better, and I believe that it's heading that way. And we're going to try this, and hopefully it works well. I think everybody will be very receptive, but we didn't want to just completely go to Swiss the entire tournament.
Right,
I mean,
right.
it's that's a little too much. We want to make sure that we get our feet wet and we make sure it works. We know it works internationally. We're going to make sure it works domestically here.
Mm-hmm.
But I truly believe that's the direction we need to go, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a fun event.
That's terrific.
Yeah, and we've done some things to kind of ease people into this a bit because I've been looking at the the various formats here for a while, trying to figure out how we can incorporate some of the best parts into what we do, and not go 180 degrees from what people are used to. So
Sure.
some of the things we've done, the qualifier matches will be 2 out of 3. We had talked about doing race to 10 or race to 7, but people aren't used to that, and that's not what they're traditionally kind of geared to. So we've done that. So all the qualifying events will be 2 out of 3. And then one of the other problems that I've always had fundamentally with Swiss is that at a certain point matches are meaningless. Once you've won 3 matches and you've qualified,
Mm-hmm.
There's really not a ton of incentive to make sure that you're the number 1 seed, because if everybody else is kind of haphazardly, the seeds are just going to drop out where they drop out. You can't really.
Right.
It's not going to be a traditional seeded because of the points. And then the same thing when you lose 3 matches. Once you've lost 3 matches, why are you playing those last 2 matches?
Oh, I see.
It's
Okay.
no different than a pickup game.
Yeah.
So what we've done with the format for Texas State is that the top 4 teams in the qualifiers will actually get buys out to 5th through 8th in the single elimination bracket. So there's always that incentive to keep winning your matches because you'll be guaranteed 5th place. And on the other side, we're taking all the 3-win teams, but we're also taking the top 2, 2 and 3 teams, and the top 2 1 and 3 teams based on the tiebreakers. So even if you're 0 and 4, playing another 0 and 4 team in that last match, if you win and you win 2 games to nothing, there's a chance you could still make it into the elimination bracket. So that was one of the tweaks that we've made to the system to try to make sure that all those matches are meaningful, and that every the experience is just full for the players. It's not
Right.
3 games and then funsies after that.
Well, it's clearly you guys have put some thought into this, and I think that this is that's exciting. It's nice about this is you can custom tailor it in so many ways. No?
Well, yeah, and one of the reasons we can do that is, David with Modern Foosball is, very happy to work with us and to, talk through these scenarios and talk through the implementations and, do some, customizations to kind of bring this vision to life. And, having a partner with the software, like David is just, priceless. We couldn't think of doing this without that kind of, involvement from the software side.
Right.
Amen to that.
Yeah, for sure. And kind of the theme here, and we're hearing it in both of what you guys are saying, and I think what the way we have kind of encapsulated the Texas State Championships over the years. It has been a tournament that has evolved with the times, and oftentimes ahead of the times, right? From a tournament that started in a bar, then you went to hotels on the south side of the airport, which were not 5-star necessarily, weren't bad, but were not 5-star. Then you move to the north side of the airport where they are extremely nice, luxury hotels. The Marriott this year, again, a beautiful hotel, great rooms, great ballroom, great restaurants, etc. And now we're hearing the evolution as we move into the future, and maybe COVID plays into this a little bit. We're already, I think, in a situation where we're all kind of evolving, right? Having to, but now we are kind of moving on and seeing what the future of Texas State Championships and foosball by proxy, by the fact that you guys are kind of leading the way, and what it can become in the future. The other thing that strikes me is how I constantly hear, Tom, these two guys talk about doing it for the players. And if you look on the flyer, the Players Championship, Texas State is the Players Championship. And that's always been in conversations I've had with Steve and then David, maybe to a lesser extent. It's about making it a great experience for the players, doing right by the players. And when you do that, the players come back, and they continue to come back year after year. So I don't know if there's a question in here, but I just wanted to kind of acknowledge the fact that you guys are still open to evolving and leading the evolution of foosball. I guess talk a little bit about that, Steve, and whether that's something that you kind of focus on, and you kind of always have focused on as this tournament has grown and continued to evolve and grow.
Well, we've always, that's been our focus since day one. That's when we started as a little group of guys at Clicks Billiards. We wanted to do something for the players, not only because we were players and we loved to play, right? We wanted to do something special, and if you don't do something good for the players, I mean, why do they want to come? So we've always focused on player first, okay, and not really. I want to be careful with my words here. It's all about the players. If you don't, they're your customers, okay? They're part of this sport. This is part of what we do. This is what we love. And if you don't make it worth their while, and if you don't treat them right, why would they come back?
Yeah, good point.
So really, that's been our focus since day one, is do something that we as players would appreciate as players, and pass that on as tournament directors and tournament promoters, and it's worked out pretty well.
One of the evolutions, and this is where Steve was right on the cutting edge as well, is that as we evolved from the the people that hung out in bars to the people that had families, and where foosball kind of was taking second place to that aspect of it, Steve really spearheaded making Texas State a family event. He does an amazing job getting all these jukeboxes, ping pong tables, cornholes, video games, and we were really the kind of the first major tournament to have that kind of players lounge where it was really a family atmosphere, where you could feel like you could bring your family, have them come to the tournament, and they would have stuff to do, and not have to send them off to the malls or send them off to another venue. That was all right there. And Steve was great in identifying that and getting that set up and ingraining that into our program.
Love that. Yeah, that was one of the things that I found remarkable when I was there last year, is the combination of the extra games on the side and that the ante room there outside the main playing area. It was really cool because the kids had something to do, and those video games were going as much as the foosball tables during the day, especially with the younger kids who were just trying to find something fun to do, and it was great to see that.
Yeah, we're family friendly. We Memorial Weekend sometimes is That's a big graduation weekend when kids are graduating high school and everybody does family stuff. So, and you know what, family first, always family first. We understand that. So we wanted to try to do something that was good for the family. Bring the kids down, have a good time. Don't worry about them. You know, let them have something to do. And so yeah, that's kind of what we've done over the years, and it seems to be working pretty good.
Yeah, that's for sure. And here we are, 3 weeks from Friday. How about that? Into the home stretch here as we again look forward to one of the highlights on the tour. Steve, 3 weeks, a little over 3 weeks. Talk to the folks out there. Tell them why they need to come.
Well, I can. Me and my crew, our people, whatever, can promise you a quality event in quality conditions, and we will make it fun for you. We'll make it affordable for you. We will guarantee you they won't sit around for hours at a time before you get to, there's not going to be a whole lot of getting warmed up and then sitting for hours and getting cold. We've got a good format. We've proven that time after time, and I want to see everybody come down here. This is going to be a special event. We got some fun new stuff planned that I'm not going to talk about right now, but it will be fun for a lot of the guys that come to this tournament. We'll have some of the family fun stuff. So look, if you got a family and you love to play foosball, Texas State is where you want to go.
Yeah, that's great. And hopefully you'll have some of that dadgum IPA from last year, too.
Just gonna say, well, you can count on that, buddy. I always take care of it. And listen, I want to, I just, before we sign off here, and I'm sorry I keep rambling, but I wanted to go back to your top five.
Yeah.
Okay. Because our top five was about the same. I'm telling you, it was almost identical, except for the number one. Okay. I mean, my number five was the back-to-back archer and Brandon. That was on my list. Terry and Keisha's win was on my list. But my number one, I'll just jump to number one. My number one was, you guys know that every year I get up there in front of everybody and I cry like a baby because I love everybody. But last year, Tom, we made Jim Stevens cry. Thanks to me and Mark Torres.
Yes.
We gave him a special award, which he deserves, and he is part of this family. But it was so cool. I saw him break a tear, and that's my number one Texas State.
Damn it.
Texas State.
Thank you for doing that.
No, it was a huge surprise and greatly appreciated. And, we were all wearing our hearts on our sleeves, I think, last year at that event for a variety of reasons. And Steve,
that's right.
You know what I think of you. You're my brother. And it was greatly appreciated. And yeah, maybe one tear snuck out.
Oh man, it was wonderful. I loved it. So a little more house cleaning, Tom, real quick.
Yeah.
It sucks that Clay's not coming this year. It's not going to be the same without Clay. Dang it, Clay. I appreciate you taking care of business, but we're sure going to miss you, buddy. And a little Florida shout out to Mike Green.
Yeah.
The Greenie.
he's got
Greenie will be in Texas. He's got to be.
Yeah,
he can't stay away.
Yeah, he's got game still, man. I mean, when he played Thunderdome, I mean, it was just amazing to watch him play with a Texan, by the way, and win that whole thing. That was
how about that?
Yeah. So we're looking forward to some really great competition, guys. It's funny because every time I get a chance to chat with you, Steve, and of course I get inspired, but of course now David too. It just seems like there's got to be a time where we can get a forum of promoters together using this vehicle called InsideFoos and FoosTalk Live, and really hash it out. Maybe break things down into, okay, each year, what major tournaments can we put together when it comes to the regional areas? Because we here in the Northeast are starving for a regional tournament that's worth traveling to by vehicle, by car. Like a Northeast Championship or that kind of thing. But Northeast, Southeast, Southwest, Northwest. I mean, maybe we should break this down into 4 parts and see if we can work that out. And people like yourselves, Steve and Dave, we could benefit from your experience.
Love to do it, Tom. I have a little experience with the things you need to put those type of things in place.
Cool.
I can't do what David does, and I don't even try. But we know how to negotiate with hotels, and we know how to talk to the people and the suppliers that we need to pull off a really good event. So let's talk about that.
Cool. No, I just want to throw that out there, and maybe we can gather up the powers that be and really hash it out and do it on the air.
Well, that would be great because I mean, just having dealt with some newer promoters, just the wealth of knowledge that people like Steve and Mary Moore and some of the other promoters have about the negotiations with the hotels and just all the hundreds of things that go into putting a successful tournament together. Because a new promoter, if they fail on their first one or lose a lot of money on their first one, they're not going to run another one.
Right.
So just making sure that they have all the tools they need to succeed because it's good for the sport. And that's, what we need is we need more promoters out there and we need more tournaments out there.
Nice. Well, let's make the wheels
Amen.
turn. Yeah,
Great
for
idea.
sure. Yeah, very cool.
Amen, brother.
Wow, this always goes way too fast, guys. I mean, this is something that I'm sure we could go on for a couple of days on just talking about the good old days in Texas State.
So, Tom, listen.
We'll sit around over a beer and do that together here in about 3.5 weeks. Tom can't make it this year, but he'll be back, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Oh no. That was the most, I would say, out of anything I've done in the foosball world from the time I started in 1974 as a barfly. That is the most welcome I've ever felt at a tournament, or most just overall sheer joy of the sport. So thank you for that.
So Tom, we'll lift a glass to you, and we really appreciate the opportunity for letting us come on and talk about Texas State.
Oh, sure.
We're if you hadn't noticed, we're pretty passionate about it, and it means a lot to what we've built here. And so thank you for letting us come on to FoosTalk Radio. It's much appreciated. And by God, Jim and I are going to do a dadgum IPA in your honor.
Yes, we are.
Thank you.
At least one, maybe more.
I appreciate that.
But again, thanks, Steve and David, for all you guys do. I know how hard you work. I've worked a lot of tournaments in my life. I see the behind the scenes stuff. David Radack, of course, the hardest working tournament director in the sport.
Yeah.
And of course, Steve, goes without saying what you have done over your Hall of Fame career. So thank you for what you guys do. And I can't wait to get there, to get to work, to get to be a part of Texas State once again.
Amen, brother.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. So David and Steve, thank you so much. And knock 'em dead, guys. I can't wait to hear about the results. And of course, even though I'll be in Rhode Island that weekend with family, I'll be checking in and out on Inside Foos for sure.
Hope so, Tom. Look forward to talking to you, buddy.
All right,
Thank
guys.
you.
Yeah, thanks again.
Take care, guys. Thank you.
Bye,
Take
guys.
care, guys.
See you guys.
So Jim, there you have it, man. This is the energy continues, and I'm so impressed and of course excited about just the enthusiasm that both Steve and Dave share for this sport.
Yeah, for sure. And the fact that they have been doing it for so long, you absolutely can trust every single word they say about what they're going to do because they have already done it in previous years. And anybody who hasn't been to a Texas State Championships, make sure you do. You still have time here to make your reservation at the Marriott Hotel on Freeport Parkway, just right there. You can literally land, take a shuttle, and be there in 5 minutes. It's in the airport, right next to the airport. So convenient, such a great hotel, 5-star hotel, great playing atmosphere. So if you haven't made your plans to be there yet, please do, because this is truly one of the great events in the world, and I'm looking forward to it. I don't get out much these days, Tom. I'm looking forward to heading down and hanging out with my buddies.
We got to change that. It's one of the things. To beleaguer the point, but when I was at the hotel last year for Texas State, one of the things I was most disappointed about is I didn't spend enough time in the hotel room because it was really nice,
Yeah.
And in my career as a voice actor and a lecturer on voice acting, I spent a lot of time on the road within a lot of hotels. And I tell you, not that many are that nice. I mean, just really great. So,
and you get to go downstairs, play a little foosball, and talk a little foosball as well. So make plans to be there next year, would you, Tom?
Absolutely, it's on the calendar. It's already booking.
Awesome.
I'm booking it in. So I only have one nephew left for graduating college, and that's why I'm not there.
All right, fair enough.
But gotta say, Jim, this is a lot of fun. I know Mark, of course, who actually went to see a concert and was not in the concert, not actually singing in the concert.
His daughters were, though, who I'm sure both sing much better than he does.
Yeah, I have a feeling. That's not saying much, though, is it? But
and thanks to Adam and Clay for joining us early in the show. Good work down there in Florida. Looking forward to hopefully seeing Adam in Texas. I know we're still waiting to see. And of course, Clay's going to be in Scandinavia doing his thing.
Right. I meant to tell him that, there are good Swedish massage therapists here in this country, but I guess
and Clay doesn't hang out at bars, but he's going to be hanging out at buildings with bars up there doing his thing at the prisons. But anyway,
it's cool.
All right, another good show, Tom. Number 107, is that what you said?
107 episodes, and 108 is coming this way next week. We do have a lot of tournaments coming up. In fact, I just want to make mention that next weekend, Mother's Day weekend, there is the New Hampshire State Championships, which I think is the first in quite some time.
I believe that's pronounced New Hampshire.
New Hampshire, yeah. Yes, so I have a feeling I know the Pulowskis will be there, but it's all part of our foosball beat, which is coming up in just a few seconds. But in the meantime, thank you so much for taking the time out to join us for FoosTalk Live on behalf of Jim Stevens and the absent Mark Torres, and of course Adam Gilson and Clay Toomey. We thank you so much for tuning in and making this the #1 foosball podcast in the world.
See you guys.
Foosball tournaments are everywhere. FoosTalk Live proudly presents a weekly update of events near you with the FoosTalk Live Tournament Beat. Here's what's up. East Coast Foosball Players presents the $3,500 New Hampshire State Championships, May 6th through the 8th, Yankee Lanes, 216 Maple Street, Manchester, New Hampshire. Don't miss Texas State 2022, the Players Championship, May 27th through the 30th at the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport Marriott Hotel, Dallas, Texas. Here comes the 2022 Seattle Open, June 17th through 19th at Bolero, South Seattle, 100 Andover Park West, Seattle, Washington. It's the 2022 ITSF World Cup and World Championships, June 28th through July 2nd, Nantes, France. The South Florida Foosball Club proudly presents the 2022 Beachtown Beatdown, July 15th through the 17th in Lake Worth Beach, Florida. Registration details coming soon. Don't forget the 2022 National Championship North American Cup, July 20th through July 24th. It's been moved to the Clarion Hotel and Conference Center, Lexington, Kentucky. It's the first annual Ozark Open, Sunday, August 15th, 2588 North Gregg Street, Fayetteville, Arkansas. Just announced the 2022 $10,000 Michigan State Foosball Championships, sponsored by Foos Gadgets, September 30th through October 2nd at the Hilton Garden Inn, Lansing West, Lansing, Michigan. Each week, we do our best to give you the most up-to-date listing of foosball tournaments near you. If you have an event you would like to add, send us all the details at info@foosballradio.com. Tune in every week for the FoosTalk Live Foosball Beat. FoosTalk Live is a product of Inside Foos, all rights reserved. Brought to you in part by InsideFoos.com, Protectoflex, Rodlock, 518 Prince, Foosballers the Movie, the USTSO, and Foosball Clubs USA. Tune in again next week for another episode of FoosTalk Live. In the meantime,
we'll see you foosing.